Today we are talking about Yorishiros. A divine Yorishiro, or simply Yorishiro, is something belonging to a specific school mystery, which is meant to be the thing that is seen to be the most precious to them. It is true having a Yorishiro, in fact, that a supernatural being can officially be considered a member of the 7 mysteries. They are characterized by a black and white seal. However, this color can vary, since we've seen in the last season of the anime that Sumaire's seal as a human Yorishiro is also black and white in the anime, although it should be a different color, as we will see in the small spoiler section that will be about Hanako's Yorishiro, since it has not been revealed yet in the anime. A Yorishiro can be pretty much any material thing on which the seal can be placed. They are described as the object or person most precious to the respective school wonder, something that want to protect and normally never wound on their own will, in order to prevent them from abandoning their duty by destroying it. So in a way, this is pretty much used to trap the wonder into never actually achieving to leave its position. The Yorishiro is described as a battery that provides its school wonder with more power than a normal supernatural and, therefore, is usually kept hidden in the innermost reaches of a school mystery's boundary. If the Yorishiro is destroyed, the school wonder will be greatly weakened and, overall, will cease to be considered a mystery, at least officially speaking. In order to destroy one, a Kanagi can rip off the seal of the Yorishiro, leaving it mostly intact, and doing so will usually allow the person to see a fragment of memory related to the Yorishiro itself. To any other individual, including the mystery themselves, the only way to destroy a Yorishiro would be to completely annihilate it beyond recognition, ultimately making it disappear in its entirety. I think it's also good to add that technically outside of the Kanagi, so Yashiro herself, and the wonder possessing said Yorishiro, it's often seen as impossible for anybody else to destroy them. It is rumored that if someone manages to destroy all the Yorishiros, a certain god or kami-sama will grant them a wish. And the story highly implies that, contrary to other wishes we have seen being made in the story, that this wish, since it's granted from God, can have an almighty power and pretty much grant magically anything the one that has destroyed all the Yorishiros will ask in return. In the story, we see that Hanako is actually the one who wants to claim this wish as a result of the destroying of all Yorishiros. We see that the goal of the broadcasting club and Tsukasa himself is also the destroying of the Yorishiros, which can be seen as kind of an oddity for the reason I'll talk about in the spoiler section. But I think it's worth noticing that this almighty wish will most likely fall on the shoulders of Nene, since so far she has been the one who has been destroying all the Yorishiros herself, or at least had led to their direct destruction. According to other rumors, however, notably told by Sakura to Natsuhiko, the destroying of the Yorishiros could actually lead to the destruction of everything, in the sense that the concept of life and death would then cease to exist, which Sakura theorized would lead to a complete collapse of reality itself. While none of these options has been confirmed yet, it's also possible for the two outcomes to be related to some extent, as I believe myself. So here's the list of all the Yorishiros. Number 1 Yorishiros kinda go into spoiler territory since it's only been known in the manga, so skip it if you don't want to know about it. The 3 Clock Keeper's Yorishiro is a golden key with the seal on it and can be used to unlock the door leading to the heart of the Clock Keeper's boundary, and the Clock Keepers themselves can also use it to travel to any point in time as long as they stand in front of the big clock. The key used to be stored inside of Mirai's body, at least until the latter sacrificed herself in order to protect Akane from Tsukasa's direct attacks. In the story, as far as we know, it is the only Yorishiro that is not directly tied to an emotional link with its original wonder, so that being Kako, but the fact that Kako actually turned himself into a supernatural and also the one that he has been kept in Mirai's body serves to indicate, in my opinion, that the both of them are just remnants of the people they used to be Since Mirai has been constructed around the memory of Mari that Kako accidentally erased from existence, and that Kako himself, while still alive, turned his body into a supernatural machine. When I'm recording this video, so this means after chapter 130 came out, number 1's Yorishiro is still not destroyed. Number 2's Yorishiro. Yako's Yorishiro is a pair of scissors with the seal on it. It's the same pair that was used by Misaki, Yako's past sweetheart and the only human she ever trusted, to cut her hair. After taking away the seal from the Yorishiro, Nene saw the memory contained in it. It was the first time she destroyed the Yorishiro, and it is the first one shown in the story. This memory showed the teacher, Misaki, taking a picture with his students in front of the Misaki shrine, along with the fox statue beside the gate. Misaki told everyone to look forward and smile, and he then patted the statue and said, "You too," prompting a small Yako only he could see to join them. Number 3's Yorishiro. The original number 3's Yorishiro was an unspecified object placed on the ceiling of his mirror world, where the seal could be seen from a distance. Nene and Mitsuba were initially supposed to take off the Yorishiro to get out of there, but they were stopped before they could even try by Tsukasa's intervention, who murdered number 3 and forced Mitsuba to hit his heart. After that, his Yorishiro isn't mentioned anymore, and it is considered to be destroyed or nullified in some way, as the new number 3 Mitsuba didn't retain the original number 3's Yorishiro. However, he was unable to make one of his own in time, which resulted in him being weaker than an actual school mystery. The original number 3's death is really interesting because it shows that you can actually kill or exorcise or at least get rid of an actual school wonder without ever having to destroy his own Yorishiro to begin with. And we also learned through his death that the Yorishiros do vanish if it is the wonder that goes away before the Yorishiro. Maybe it's a form of foreshadowing? I don't think so. Number 4's Yorishiro. Shijima Mei's Yorishiro is a sketchbook with the seal on it. It is the same one the original Mei used to sketch her drawings, which was the things that she loved to do the most in life and that kept being a passion project until the day she died. After Nene took the seal off from the Yorishiro, the picture-perfect arc world shattered into glass fragments, showing glimpses of their experience in a fake world. Number 5's Yorishiro. Tsuchigomori's Yorishiro is a lunar rock that is not really from the moon, with the seal on it. It was a gift from the only person who ever managed to change their future, as it was written in their destiny book from the 4 p.m. book stacks. After taking away the seal from the Yorishiro, Nene saw the memory contained within it. It showed Tsuchigomori attending to an alive Amane Yugi's bruises. The boy showed his teacher a rock that fell from the sky when he was younger and claimed it to be a lunar rock, describing it as his most prized possession, explaining that looking at it made him feel like he could go anywhere he wanted, but that he didn't want to go anywhere anymore. The context is that this scene takes place just after Amane's tragic supposed murder-suicide of himself and his younger brother. Since then, the rock has been destroyed by Nene, and Tsuchigomori is one of the few supernaturals who just gave up his Yorishiro without really wanting to fight from it. Number 6 Yorishiro. Shinigami-sama's Yorishiro, or Hakubo's, is Akane Sumaire, a human girl whose seal is located on the right side of the lower part of her neck. Back when they were both alive, she was the girl he was ordered to take care of until the day she was going to be sacrificed to the pit god. Now this is very interesting because for the first time we see an example of a human Yorishiro, so we now know that persons can actually be the Yorishiro of a said wonder. And a detail that is very important when, for example, we want to theorize about what Mitsuba's Yorishiro will be in the future, that alive humans has never been shown to be able to become Yorishiros. It was only the souls of dead people like Sumaire. So if, for example, you agree to the theory like I made, that Ku is actually going to be Mitsuba's Yorishiro, well, that also means that Ku has got to die, right? But anyway, Hakubo himself destroys Sumaire with her consent by completely consuming her until only a pool of blood is left. Noting that it was only possible for him to do so because he was an ogre or an oni, and that he actually had the power and the biology to do so. Number 7, Yorishiro. This is your spoiler warning, since the true nature of Hanako's Yorishiro is one of the biggest plot points in the story so far. So if you don't want to know, since it's only been in the manga yet, please do skip this one. Hanako's Yorishiro is Tsukasa Yugi, his own twin brother, whose seal is located on his right cheek and who has been visible since the very first time he appeared. He is the person Hanako killed back when they were alive, and also someone he believed he failed to protect, since he was his little brother. Now, a very few interesting things about Tsukasa being a Yorishiro is that first, this is the reason why in the anime, Sumaire's Yorishiro seal is not shown to be black with red writing, because it would pretty much spoil the reveal that Tsukasa is actually Hanako's Yorishiro, since the season ended before they could do so. Also, Tsukasa is the only known human Yorishiro, since for now there are only just 2 known, that actually possesses powers beyond what he should have as such. Because yes, we have seen Sumaire use an exorcist bracelet, but she didn't seem to have any particular power that wasn't bound to a boundary. But Tsukasa possesses a black version of Hanako Akujudais that are seen to be only linked to this position as number 7. So is the fact that Tsukasa is a human Yorishiro of number 7 able to grant him this power? Or is this a power that is linked to Tsukasa's own power that is granted because he concluded a pact with the entity? For now, we don't really know. This also is very interesting because Tsukasa's entire goal within the Broadcasting Club is to destroy the Yorishiros. Just before the timeline was reset, he was about to achieve this goal by destroying number 1's Yorishiro and then himself, which gave more context to the arc overall, as in Tsukasa's mind, if he wasn't already aware of what was going to happen, was actually about to sacrifice himself, and I believe this is in order to allow Amane to be happy without him. So pretty much, Tsukasa's entire story when he was alive was about sacrifice, and it's the same once he's dead, which is very interesting if you want to make analysis or theories on TBHK. New present Yorishiros. With the possible absence of the 7 wonders in the new present timeline, Yorishiros have a slightly different function than those of the original timeline. Instead of serving as the power source of a school mystery, and usually being a thing or person of significance and emotional value to them, they essentially are any kind of item involved in a ritual in order to summon supernaturals and power them, thus allowing the summoned supernaturals to roam around and do whatever they want in the human realm. This is possibly because in the new present timeline, the change somehow caused the 7 wonder system to not be needed because the boundary between the near and far shore is completely sealed. Something that I failed to mention until then is that Teru Minamoto actually states as an exorcist that the Yorishiros are meant to be proxy to the gods and to be pillars of the balance of reality. What does that mean is that once a Yorishiro is destroyed, the boundary between life and death becomes very much unstable, and that supernaturals, evil or not, are allowed to cross the boundary way easier and invade the human realm. So the story does move forth to erase every Yorishiro, but this also causes a growing amount of misery, since it weakens the boundaries between the near and far shore. And this is the same assumption that leads Sakura to believe that the 2 worlds could collide and completely annihilate each other once all the Yorishiros are destroyed. But again, it's probably not what is going to happen, right? Because why would they ever want to cause that to happen? Since Sakura's goal is actually to escape the school she has been trapped in for more than 100 years, not to, I guess, kill the entire universe. This is also why I believe Sakura's entire role within the story is to influence Yashiro into making the best wish possible when the destroying of the Yorishiros happen and when she has to make the final wish that will define the fate of pretty much every character within the story. According to Minamoto-ku, only the removal or destruction of said Yorishiro can remove the associated summoned supernatural from the human realm, although this means that said supernatural will now have a grudge on the person who destroyed it. Most powerful supernaturals, such as Tsukasa-kun, however, are not affected by such actions and can continue to roam around the human realm indefinitely, even inflicting any kind of harm to another person who isn't affected by the Yorishiro. Also, something I didn't mention is that even though some Yorishiros could be already destroyed, there is a ritual tied to number 6, Hakubo, or the Shinigami, the god of death, who can completely seal the boundaries from the near shore and completely remove any spirit in the realm of the living, which is called the Severance. But this can only be achieved by sacrificing a human being, most often a girl, with the Akane bloodline. So just to be sure, that is the family of Aoi, the girl, and not Akane, the boy. The Yoroshiros can also be used as a piece of trivia in order to define roughly how many arcs there is left in the story, because all the main arcs are centered around of said wonder, their backstory, and the destroying of their Yorishiro. As of now, we are arriving at the end of the new present timeline arc, which should lead to the destruction of number 1's Yorishiro, since the Clock Keepers have been at the center of more arcs than most wonders in the story, not counting Hanako of course, and that it seems to be kind of inevitable to solve the whole new present timeline thing. After that, I assume we probably are going to have one big main arc about Mitsuba and how is he going to get a Yorishiro before he gets inevitably destroyed, because you can't really do again what you already did before the new present timeline with Natsuhiko and Mitsuba. And there's also a lot of foreshadowing in the Nightlife arc that Mitsuba is going to get a Yorishiro before of course he gets destroyed. And I've believed in my Mitsuku video that I did talked about how I believe that this Yorishiro will actually be Ku himself, which yes means Ku will have to die before the story ends. And then we are going to get the final main arc with of course Hanako's Yorishiro is coming to terms with his own past, Tsukasa's final sacrifice and the promise of happiness that is within his love with Yashiro. And finally, we will get to see what the destroying of all the Yorishiros brings at the end of the story. And if you want to see what that could look like, don't forget to check out my theory video about it that should be on screen right about now. So yeah, that's it for the Yorishiros. I tried to be as complete as possible, so do tell me if I did forget some things in the comments down below. I also wanted to do this video, well, because I plan to do a video on the Yorishiros anyway, but also because I didn't think it was really interesting to do a video on the original number 3 as I should have today. But I guess if it does interest some of you, do tell me in the comments down below. Beyond that, yeah, smash that like button and subscribe if it's not already done. Share this video with the friends you want to watch TBHK with, and I'll see you next week for another TBHK Lore video. Ciao!